A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello! A very warm welcome to your welcome aboard party. It now gives me great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you all the Master of Aurora. Please raise your glasses and give me a hearty hurrah for Captain Ashley Cook.
Thank you very much, John. Are you well, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. Are you all settled in? Yes. Nice to see you. Nice. Excellent, we're going to get on well. Right, do you want the weather forecast for Gdynia? Yes. Are you sure? No, it's not looking too bad, about 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. So a little bit chilly, isn't it? But there we go, we move on after that. On to Clypedo, yes. Weather forecast there, temperature higher or lower?
Lower.
Higher? Oh. 13 degrees Celsius. On to St. Petersburg. Are you looking forward to that one?
Oh yeah.
Have you all booked your tours?
Yes.
Excellent, well done. Go down if you haven't, there's plenty there. I believe we've got about 15 tours going for when we get to St. Petersburg. Do you want the air temperature there?
Yes.
Yes. Higher or lower?
Higher.
Actually about 17 degrees Celsius. So it's getting better. Here we go, and Tallinn of course, and then across to Riga. Who's been to Riga? Is that the new port for you? Yes. So it is for me as well. I'm sure a bit. No, it is a bit of a Baltic cruise with a bit of a difference, isn't it? A few minor ports there that we've not been to before, so lots to experience, and of course After that, we're on to Traverman and Copenhagen and Oslo and then Skagen. Never been there before either, have you? Could get interesting. So, a few facts and figures for you, ladies and gentlemen. 8 countries, 9 ports, with nearly 3,500 miles together and 16 nights. So you can actually say now you've been up through the North Sea and into the Baltic Sea, all the way up to St. Petersburg with Captain Cook. It is the case, isn't it? Do we have any special occasions on board, ladies and gentlemen? Any golden wedding anniversaries? No? What have we got? What have we got? No? Golden wedding anniversary. That deserves a round of applause, doesn't it? Well, I know the restaurants are absolutely fantastic on board, ladies and gentlemen, but we do have the alternative dining venues. You've got Sinews there, you've got the Glass House, of course, and the Beach House. So if you fancy something a little bit different, do go and try them out, please. And the all-you-can-eat buffet up the horizon there, that's just an offer, it's not a challenge. You are going to enjoy yourself, we're not short of a few calories. The North Sea's been absolutely fantastic, hasn't it? What a way to start the cruise off. But when it comes to eating on passenger ships, I thought I'd share this one with you. One should never underestimate the sailors' powers of observance when it comes to diets on passenger ships. The Latvians, well, they eat very little fat and suffer fewer heart attacks than the British. The Russians, they happen to eat a lot of fat, but they suffer fewer heart attacks than the British. The Italians, we all know about them, they drink excessive amounts of red wine, but they also suffer fewer heart attacks than the British. Any Germans on board? The Germans, on the other hand, drink a lot of beer, eat a lot of sausages and fats, but they also suffer fewer heart attacks than the British. The captain's conclusion: eat and drink what you like, speaking English is the problem. Thank you very much. I'll leave you with a few thoughts, if I may, ladies and gentlemen. Remember what Mark Twain said: 20 years from now you'll be more disappointed with the things that you didn't do rather than the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbour, explore, dream and discover, for P&O Cruises, of course. Now out there we have 300 people who are new to cruising. Never warm welcome to the cruising family. Hands up, where are you? Well, a very warm welcome to the cruising family. Now I'll leave you with a few words. We'll all tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is it not the case that cruising's all about meeting new people? Yep. Eating and dining with new people? Yep. And then sleeping with a very clear conscience. Do enjoy the cruise. I look forward to seeing you around the ship.
St. Petersburg, Russia. Ships usually stay overnight in St. Petersburg. After all, the jewel in the Baltic's crown deserves no less, for here, on the broad banks of the river Neva and in the magnificent palaces and churches which characterize the city's skyline, you'll find Russia at its most dramatic, flamboyant and captivating. Put the Hermitage Museum right at the top of your sightseeing list. Its magnificent buildings and palaces contain the world's most comprehensive collection of art and sculpture, including works by Leonardo da Vinci, Gauguin, Rembrandt and Matisse. The city's other treasures include the Yusupov Palace, where the mad monk Grigory Rasputin was dramatically murdered in 1916, Catherine the Great's palace, with its breathtaking 978-foot-wide gold and blue facade, St. Isaac's Cathedral, which has marble walls studded with semi-precious stones, the onion-spired Church of Spilled Blood, and the battleship Aurora, whose guns signalled the start of the Russian Revolution. Tallinn, Estonia. Estonia's cruise port Tallinn is also a fascinating medieval capital. This multifaceted jewel of a city and its architecture, a legacy of Teutonic, Polish and Russian rule, will have your eyes on stalks, from the spectacular onion domes of the Nevsky Russian Orthodox Cathedral to the Baroque Toompea Castle, home of the Estonian Parliament, and the elaborate Gothic facade of the 13th century Rajkoda, Europe's oldest town hall. The magnificent St Mary's Cathedral, with its display of more than 100 coats of arms, is also worth a visit. But do take time out just to stroll the winding streets and cobbled squares of the city's atmospheric old town, where you'll find exquisite amber jewellery, fine lacework and gorgeous woolen jackets at bargain prices. Visit the workshops in Catherine's Passage to watch artisans creating leatherwork, jewellery and ceramics, or simply retire to a pavement cafe and relax while enjoying al fresco performances from brass bands, string quartets and strolling players.
It's John. Give us a cheer. Now, John, it's a hard one. It is a hard one. I don't think I could quite choose. Of course, John, you did get the loudest cheer, did he not? Wasn't he? However, payroll cruises, I am a Geordie, I'm a nice person who thinks we should all get some alcohol.
Riga, Latvia. Latvia's capital and cruise port, Riga, dates back to the 1100s, and its long-suffering inhabitants have endured long periods of occupation ever since, controlled by the Swedes, the Poles, and most recently the Russians. Now they've regained independence. They're embracing Western culture with enthusiasm, and visitors will find Riga full of excellent restaurants, lively bars, and internet cafes, while its historic heart has remained unchanged for centuries. A stroll through the narrow streets of its walled old city is a must, Take time to view the magnificent organ and medieval wall mountings of the Dome Cathedral. Shop for fabulous amber jewellery, fine linen and beautifully made wooden toys at the shops and street markets, and look out for the city's Freedom Monument, which depicts Milda, the spirit of Riga, reaching for the stars. You can learn more about the country's troubled past at the War Museum, housed in a well-preserved 18th century defence tower. Travemünde for tours to Hamburg, Germany. An attractive beach resort set against a backdrop of dense pine forests, the German cruise port Travemünde is also your gateway to one of the country's most fascinating cities, Hamburg. On the banks of the Elbe River, the once Hanseatic League Hamburg is intriguing because of the contrast between its legendary louche nightlife, centred around the notorious Reeperbahn, and its more sober side reflected in the impressive array of historical buildings and cultural centres. The 19th century neo-Renaissance style Rathaus Town Hall, with its tall clock tower, the Bismarck Monument, 12th century St Petri Church and 17th century Lutheran St Michaelis are among many sites worth seeking out, while a suitably ultra-modern building houses the contemporary art wing of one of the world's finest art museums, the Kunsthalle. Some of the best bars and restaurants are around the port area. Copenhagen, Denmark. Wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen was the adopted home of Hans Christian Andersen, commemorated in the waterfront sculpture of his Little Mermaid. And true to the spirit of its most famous resident, this popular Danish cruise port has a fairy tale magic all of its own. Discover it in the delightful Tivoli Gardens, where you can soar above the city in a hot air balloon suspended from a Ferris wheel, and stroll down leafy byways as dusk falls and hundreds of lights twinkle through the trees. Or in the shops and cafes of Stogit, Europe's longest pedestrianised shopping street. Enjoy another stroll along the Nyhavn Canal, browsing the market stalls and looking at the fine old sailing ships moored near its banks. You'll find more history at the magnificent Christiansborg Palace, the National Museum, home to fascinating Viking relics, and at Kronborg Castle, the former Elsinore of Shakespeare's Hamlet. Oslo, Norway. Ships sail along the tranquil Nordfjord to reach the Norwegian cruise port and capital, Oslo, a spectacular city surrounded by snow-capped mountains and rolling green hills. It was founded in 1050 and has been Norway's capital since the end of the 11th century. The modern city, an eclectic mix of ancient castles, frescoed 18th century houses, vast parks and glittering lakes, is a delight. Must-sees include the Viking House Museum with its display of 9th century longboats, the Munchmuseet, which houses works by Edvard Munch, and the medieval Akershus Castle, a warren of secret passages, crypts, dungeons and magnificent halls. Near the castle, in Aker Brygge, you'll find some of Norway's best restaurants serving classic dishes like fiskesupper, fish soup, fenalår, cured leg of mutton, and multer med creme, cloudberries with cream. Make time too for a stroll through verdant Frogner Park, home to more than 190 masterpieces by the famous sculptor Gustav Vigeland.